Welcome to the Gardens at Cheshire. We are located in central Connecticut and we are a specialist horticultural business that takes in tender and unusual plants and protects your plants from the ravages of a New England winter. This greenhouse is about an acre in size and is separated into 3 distinct growing climates. Now we pick up your plants, we bring them back to our greenhouse and we put them in the ideal growing location. They get fed, pruned, watered while they're in our care, and we return them to you next year. But as this is September, rather than the plants leaving our property, the plants are being collected as required by our customers. Now, this process is surprisingly labor intensive. Sometimes our customers have got plants that require a lot of care and attention to carefully place them where they need to be. This particular garden has got a beautiful deck overlooking the water, and our trained staff will very carefully come to your property at a prescribed time, handle those plants with absolute care and attention, and make sure that we can get them back to our greenhouses where we can give them even more care and attention. It's very easy to think that these plants are no big deal. You just pick them up and you put them in a truck. That's not the case. If you've got ornamental pots as you have here, these plants and pot can weigh quite a substantial weight. And it's care and attention and being trained to properly handle these plants and pots that means you can rely on the Gardens at Cheshire to do a first-rate job. Now we've got different trucks of different sizes and we'll bring out the truck most suitable for your situation. But you see here the staff will work together on those heavier containers so that the plants don't tip over, and only when the plant is a bit lighter and easier to manage might it be picked up by itself. As a truck is loaded, it is carefully packed with packing materials and foam blocks so that plants don't move around in transit. The Gardens at Cheshire have got different sized trucks depending on the workload for that day. This larger truck would be used for obviously larger collections of plants, but we might go out and do 2 or 3 pickups in one day and then come back and unload them. Now at the greenhouse we've got a special loading dock. This makes a very difficult task of unloading much easier because we are at the same level. Now it needs to be said that just because you have a truck, that doesn't mean that you know how to move plants. Plants are very fragile, very delicate, and if they're not stacked carefully with packing material and blocks, the pots can move around, vibrate, bang together, crack and break, or worse still, the plant might be top heavy and fall over and the branches could be broken. So care and attention is required at every single step of this process. You can see here how none of the pots are touching another pot directly, and it's the packing material that prevents any damage from happening. Unpacking a truck does take a lot of skill and experience, and here at Gardens of Cheshire, this is what we do. This is the core part of our business, is handling tender plants. And it's not by chance that we've got all the equipment that we need to do a first-rate job. Here you can see a dolly, that's the black frame with the wheels, and we use that to pick up the plants and move them rather than lifting them. We're able to move them on the cart, move them on the dolly, take them out of the truck and put them into our greenhouse. One of the big challenges faced is that we don't know the condition of the plants when we go and pick them up. Some of them may be dry, it's not ideal, but we can quickly water them. Some of them may be really heavy and overwatered, and they border on dangerous because that heavy weight can be dislodged very easily. But on those heavier plants, it is prudent that we will have multiple people hold the plant as it's being moved out of the back of the truck. As we unload a truck, we're always looking for any potential damage that may have been given to the plant prior to it coming to us, and we'll report back to customers on what we find. Sometimes plants need to be repotted immediately, sometimes they might need to have a fertilizer application, and many of them will need a really good water once they get into our greenhouse. Now remember that our greenhouse is a growing environment, so where your plants might be slowing down in growth in September outside, when they come to our greenhouses, they are right back into that very productive environment with good temperature, ample water, and fertilizer. So your plants can start to really get going should they require that. Now we will put multiple pots onto one pallet, as you see here, and then that one pallet with multiple plants on it can then go out to the storage area within the greenhouse. So we try and give our plants minimal handling so as to avoid any risk of damage. So that's it for September. You see the process at Gardens of Cheshire of bringing plants into our greenhouse.